Will, Arne. Everyone's been talking about the start you've had so far. There's 16 games, 14 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. And of course, dispatching the Bundesliga champions is a very good way to continue that as well. Have you been surprised at just how well this start has been for you and for Liverpool this season?
I don't think surprise is the right word to use, because I knew the quality of our team. But quality is one thing, but to be consistent is a second thing. And I'm not surprised in this, because from the moment I started working with them, I saw how much energy they put in on a daily basis. And that is, I think, the reason why you can be consistent. If you do the work on a daily basis every day, you can be consistent, and then sometimes a bit of luck comes with that as well. Most of our results were, I think, deserved, but some of them were a close call. And then, then you have maybe a bit of luck as well. But in general, not surprised, because of the quality I already thought there was in the team. And when I started working with them, I also saw how much effort they put in to get these results.
And after Villa and Southampton, this intense period then continues. You've got Real Madrid, Man City, Merseyside derby in there as well. With this sort of challenge that's coming up, how are you managing the expectations within the squad, especially after this start?
I'm not trying to manage expectations with the squad, because we don't talk about expectations. We do talk about expectations, and the only expectations I have is that they put the same effort in on a daily basis like they've done for the past 3 or 4 or 5 months, and probably for the last 6 or 7 years, but I'm only here for 3 or 4 or 5 months now. That's the only expectation there is, that they work every day as hard as they can to get their habits, our habits, what we want to see on the pitch in the best possible way. And with that, normally results come as well, but I'm not asking them to win every game. I am hoping they do. What I do ask from them is that they put the effort in on a daily basis. And that's the only thing we focus on. And I think the players, first of all, think about, after Saturday, they think about the national team. And when they come back, then we focus on the games you were just talking about.
You talked about effort there, and I know you've mentioned intensity as well. We've seen some really improved performances, if that's the right word, from the likes of Luis Diaz, for example, and Curtis Jones, just on a different level, it seems. What are you doing with those individuals specifically to kind of bring this extra level out, do you feel?
With Curtis, maybe it's not me who did it, because he became a father and I had nothing to do with that. You never know if that plays a part or not, but it is, since the moment he became a father, he started putting great performances in, and he already did this in the first few weeks that we worked together in pre-season. I was like, quality player, but then his performances dropped a bit. But since the moment he, like I just said, became father, he's outstanding again. And I don't think it might have to do a bit with that, but in general I think it has to do with the way the team plays, because every player that comes in has a good performance, and that probably tells you a lot about the quality of the team, how they play together. That then, as a result of that, individual performance are good as well.
So parenthood makes you a better player, perhaps?
In his situation it seems like this, so let's wait if that is true.
You need sleep. Arne, just to build on something you were asked there, in terms of the expectation, you spoke about what it's like with the players amongst the squad, but the wider sort of Liverpool group, the fans, all the noise around the club. The start that you've made has been historic, it's been remarkable. So do you try and keep a lid on people's expectations of you and your team, or do you allow people to dream a little bit?
I always feel and think that what the outside world is talking about, that is not always what comes inside the training ground, like the AXA or at my former clubs at Feyenoord. We are there to do our work and to become a better player on a daily basis, or to keep having the same level. So we are not inside this building, okay, the screens are on and we see all the time all these news coming along, but never on the news it says, oh, Liverpool is doing great, Liverpool is doing great. So we are just here to do our work, and it's not that it is the first time that this club is where it is at the moment. So I think for most of these players it's a normal situation, and I don't think they get carried away at all by us being top of the league at the moment, because they know how small the margins are when it comes to our results, and also how small the margins are when you look at the amount of points we are ahead of the other teams.
And what about the fans? Do you ask them to keep their feet on the ground, or are you quite happy for them to get excited and wonder about what can come?
If the end result is of them being excited to bring the atmosphere they brought in the second half against Brighton and the whole game against Leverkusen, I'm hoping they will keep being excited for as long as they possibly can be, because that atmosphere helped us in both games a lot. So yeah, maybe that's your answer.
Lee Carsley said that Curtis Jones is one of the best players he's worked with in terms of ability. How far would you go with that, and what makes him such a good player?
What makes him such a good player? He has a lot of qualities on the ball. When he has the ball, he's never afraid to do something special with it. Sometimes that led to a situation that, in my opinion, he touched the ball a bit too much, because sometimes he's a bit too overconfident. But confidence is an important tool, and that's what he has. And he combines this at the moment, and probably for a longer period, but as long as I'm working with him, with an incredibly hard work rate. And we can trust him in defense as well. You saw how well he played against Cole Palmer. So he's quite complete, but for him now, and I used this word I think a few days ago, for him now it's all about consistency. Because if you're a quality player, I think they're all quality players, and to have a good performance once in a while, that's not a big accomplishment. But the best players in the world show up every 3 days. And if he wants to continue progressing, that's what he has to show now, to be every 3 days the player he's been for us in the last few weeks.
And Andy Robertson's been the first choice left back at Liverpool for a few years now. You've been giving Tsimikas a few starts lately. Is there much of a gap between those two for you?
I think my lineups tell you what I think about this. I think we have two very good fullbacks, and we play many games. So then I think both of them need their games, because it's also a position where a lot of effort is being asked. So if you look at the players that have played most games, it's most about our centre backs, and they don't run the most if you compare that to fullbacks or to midfielders or to wingers. So there are multiple reasons why our fullbacks or midfielders are sometimes rotated, but definitely also has to do with the quality of the players and the difference in at least in my opinion, between the quality of these players. So for me, I have two very good left fullbacks. Andy has started a lot. Kostas has started a few times. Let's see who starts Saturday.
Hi Arne. In terms of the contract situations of Trent, Virgil and Mohamed Salah, you're obviously going to have an input. So from your point of view, would you like them to stay beyond next summer?
It would be strange if I have no input, although I'm a head coach now, and sometimes that's convenient to say I'm a head coach. I'm no longer the manager. So talk about contract situations with someone else. Now, I think in general contract situations are talked about by the people who should talk about it. I'm one of them, but I should not talk about this in public. So I do talk about this with Richard, and that's the place where we have to talk about it, and not in front of a microphone. With you guys.
Last week.
Before we talk about Liverpool, can I just ask how's Tyrone Mings, and was he able to explain the handball incident midweek in the Champions League?
Good afternoon. It's football. It's football, and we made a mistake, and I want to forget it. It's not necessary to speak again about the result we had on Wednesday, of course, and or last week. And the action was completely something not usual and not normal, and we had to try to understand the rule and then keep going.
Focusing now on Liverpool. A few weeks ago we were talking about Aston Villa's best Premier League start in 26 years. Obviously results have dropped ever so slightly, obviously in the cup competitions as well as the Champions League. Liverpool next. Top of the table, top of the Champions League group standings as well. Is that the ideal type of opponent to bring back up performance levels?
It's not changing my message. My message was very clear when I started the season. When we were more or less getting point and being in the top 4, but not now when we were, I was telling and sending a message for the supporters, for everybody. We are enjoying the way we are doing. We really got last year a very successful season in Premier League, getting the Champions League. This year to keep it is the objective for us, but we are not contended. We are not the favorite. They are Liverpool, they are City, they are Chelsea, they are Tottenham, they are Newcastle, they are Liverpool. There are 7 teams in front of us, and of course always there are some teams as a surprise being there, like now Nottingham Forest. And we are more or less well. I am not really worried about how we are now. In the circumstances we are the last 2 weeks, after we draw at home against Bournemouth and we lost last week against Tottenham, because of course in Champions League is different and we are more or less in our expectation. And tomorrow Liverpool is very difficult. They are completely favorite now to beat tomorrow us. They are completely favorite to win the Premier League this season, now in front City and Arsenal, because they are starting very, very, very well. But it's 38. We are going to play 38 matches. And 38 matches, we are in the day 11 tomorrow. And of course, we are motivated, we are excited as well, and we are keeping balance. And tomorrow is really an amazing match we are going to play in Liverpool. Again, the team is doing the best in this season in Premier League and in Champions League, and it's our challenge tomorrow.
Good afternoon, Unai. You talk about Liverpool, no doubt still an exciting top team. How are you preparing differently to an Arne Slot Liverpool side to what you would previously prepared for under Jurgen Klopp?
We are analysing then how they are playing, and they are playing really, really very well. And the style, the idea, in some tactical things maybe change something, but they are playing with the same player, they are playing very well. The style and the idea, I think, progressively is clearly we can watch, but more or less is the same power they had before with their structure tactically, offensively. They are really very strong team collectively in the tactical way and individually as well. And tomorrow is a really huge challenge for us to stop them, to play with our personality. We are analyzing and we are building the team, but of course we have to compete if we want to get the level we had last year. We are more or less keeping it, but we have to be stronger in some circumstances, in everything, tactically, mentally, emotionally, but of course building the team with different players, building the team after some players that are coming back, being for a long time injured, is again try to build the team, to build our structure, and we are in this process.
Just a quick word on the overall quality of the Premier League, if I may. You mentioned 7 teams potentially ahead of yourselves. You talk about Nottingham Forest being up there this season as well. What have you made of the overall quality? We finally hit 10 games this season where people do start to kind of make judgments. What have you made of it? How excited are you by the league week in, week out?
This is very difficult. Premier League is, I think, the most difficult league in the world because we have the better teams historically and now in the moment we are. The better coaches, the better players, and of course they are progressively arriving a lot of young coaches, fresh coaches with a lot of ideas tactically, and football is going so quick. And of course we have to adapt, we have to learn, we have to to be better today than yesterday, and only the way to get it is to be very demanding, trying to improve and trying to understand as well how is football now, and this is my daily challenge as well as a coach. Try to be always in front in everything, competing against the better coach, the better teams, the better players, and the better competition.
Thank you, Unai. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Hi, Unai. Unai, when you're on the run that you are on, 3 straight defeats and 4 without a win, does your approach change at all? Are you delivering any different messages to your players to try and break out of the losing cycle, or are you very much consistency is important?
Not because I am telling you 3 weeks ago my message here was the same like now. Was the same message. Of course, we are increasing our level because we were demanding more progressively until now to try to and keep going to try to keep being consistent in the top position. But they are under 17 and we have to be more intelligent than them, more competitive than them. But now the teams, more or less after last year, we were more or less a surprise when we were getting the 4th position. This year, for example, when we lost last week against Tottenham, for them was a very special moment against us because they knew we were in front then, even until now, and last year, and we are more or less for them a competitive team to be in the top 7, top 5, top 4. And they were celebrating the 3 points last week like they deserve. And of course, was very good example, very good match for us. Tomorrow, we are going to play one team, LiverPool, more or less in 2 years. We are competing well against them, but they are always in front of us. And the idea is try to watch how is our level now, comparing of them with them, how is our capacity to face them.
Talking of them, they've had 24 hours or so longer to prepare because they played Tuesday, you played Wednesday. Will that have an effect on the game? And looking back at the week that you've had, is there a specific area that you'd like to see improved from your team?
If we want to play in Champions League or in Europe, if we want to play to be contender or to be fighting for a trophy, we have to play 3 matches for a week. And if we are not able to play focusing mentally, physically in this direction, we are not going to get our objective. Of course, we need rest, but I think we rested. We are training now in the afternoon, and we are going to prepare the match with the players tomorrow, and they are going to be ready to play, and mentally, physically, and of course, hopefully as well on the field we can show our capacity to face them, competing and with the possibilities to get points.